Your live broadcast of KOMU 8 News will begin momentarily. Brought to you by Bob McCosh Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Your live broadcast of KOMU 8 News will begin momentarily. Brought to you by Bob McCosh Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Your live broadcast of KOMU 8 News will begin momentarily. Brought to you by Bob McCosh Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Your live broadcast of KOMU 8 News will begin momentarily. Brought to you by Bob McCosh Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for the 2026 State of the City Address. I'm De'Carlon Seewood, Columbia City Manager. Each year we pause to take stock at where we are as a community and where we're headed. This is not a ceremonial exercise, it is an accountability moment. It gives us a chance to look directly at the work being done, to be honest about what's working, and to acknowledge where we still have gaps, and to reaffirm where we're trying to build together. Now my 5th year as city manager, I've had the opportunity to see this city through a period of significant change. We've navigated the effects of a global pandemic. We've grappled with challenges that communities across the country continue to face, including crime, housing affordability, and broader economic pressure. And we've managed continued population and economic growth that has reshaped demand for service across every department. What stands out to me most is not a single project or a single initiative. It is the consistency of this community. Columbia is a city that shows up. Residents engage, staff responds, partners collaborate. And even when we don't agree on every detail, there's a shared expectation that we will keep moving forward. And I do want to take a moment to acknowledge how fortunate we are to have a community that shows up. We have an engaged mayor and city council who are present, accessible, and committed to working through complex issues with care and diligence. Let's give a round of applause for our mayor and council. We have more than 1,900 employees across 19 departments that show up every single day to serve this community, often behind the scenes, often without recognition, but always with a commitment to making Columbia better. Let's give a round of applause for our employees. That level of commitment across the entire organization is not something we take for granted. That is what today is about. Our theme this year is building a stronger Columbia together. That theme is not decorative, it is descriptive. Because nothing you will hear today is accomplished by one department alone, and nothing is accomplished by a city that's working in isolation for the community it serves. Every initiative, every investment, every improvement that we will discuss today reflects a coordinated effort across this organization, across partners, residents, and neighborhoods, and businesses and the community organizations throughout Columbia. Progress happens when we all have a shared understanding and a shared responsibility. The city may facilitate the work, but the outcomes belong to all of us. Let me say that one more time. The city may facilitate the work, but the outcome belongs to all of us. At the core to local government is one simple responsibility: to deliver service that improves the quality of life for our community. And in today's environment, service delivery alone is not enough. Residents deserve to understand how decisions are made. They deserve to know how our priorities are set and have their input as reflected in the outcomes that we see in their neighborhoods and across the growing Columbia. That expectation is especially important in a city like ours. Columbia is not static. We're growing in population, we're growing in housing demands, infrastructure needs, and the complexity of issues that are being asked to address. That includes housing affordability pressures, continued expectations around public safety, and the need to ensure that economic growth is inclusive and sustainable. As the city evolves, the relationship between the government and the community must evolve with it. That is why engagement is not a side function of city government. It is central to how we operate. Over the past year, we've continued to strengthen and expand our engagement efforts across Columbia with that reality in mind. We held our second annual community summit, bringing residents, staff, and community partners together in a place to discuss priorities and challenges directly. This event was not just a presentation, it was a conversation. And what we hear in these conversations directly informs how we respond to growth pressures, service demands, and long-term planning across the city. We also completed the second post-pandemic community survey. This remains one of the most important tools we have, and it helps us understand how residents are experiencing city services. It tells us where expectations are being met, where we are falling short, and where we need to adjust as demands on local government continues to increase. We continue to invest in neighborhood engagement through block parties, community gatherings, and direct outreach. These efforts matter in a city like Columbia because growth does not impact every neighborhood the same way. These spaces allow us to hear directly from residents about how change is felt at the local level, whether related to development, traffic, housing, or access to services. We've also grown our Civic Academy and continued Community Classroom series, which helps residents better understand how city government operates. From budgeting to infrastructure planning to public safety, these sessions are about transparency. As our city becomes more complex, understanding how decisions are made becomes even more important for maintaining trust. Our budget town halls have also expanded. The budget is not just a financial tool, it's a reflection of priorities in a growing community where needs often exceed available resources. Residents deserve to understand how these decisions are made, and they deserve meaningful opportunities to help shape them. Through Community Connectors and Let's Talk Local, we continue to meet residents where they are, whether that's in neighborhoods experiencing rapid growth, long-established communities, or emerging areas of development. These programs are not about checking a box or simply completing outreach. They're about building consistency over time in how we listen, respond, and adjust. As part of our commitments and alignment and responsiveness, we're also currently updating the city's strategic plan. Our current strategic plan was adopted in 2021. As Columbia continues to grow and evolve, it's important that we revisit that framework to ensure it still reflects current realities and continues to guide us effectively into the future. This process is designed to be fully grounded in community input. Residents are able to participate through a dedicated engagement platform that can be found on our website or reached via QR code shown on the screen. This platform includes surveys, idea walls, discussion forums, and will also serve as a central location for updates throughout this process. We will also be hosting a series of public forums to gather additional feedback directly from residents across the community. These conversations are critical because a strategic plan is not just an internal document. It is a reflection of shared priorities between the city and the people we serve. We're working with Barry Dunn, a national consultant firm, to support this effort, but the direction of this plan will be shaped here in Columbia, and that is intentional. The purpose of this update is not to start over, but is to ensure that we are aligned with where the community is today and where we expect to go next. Engagement is not one initiative. It is not one event. It is a system of ongoing initiatives that connects residents to the government and ensures that our decisions reflects the lived experience of our community. With that said, I invite you to watch a video that describes our culture of engagement for the City of Columbia.
Our community wants to be involved. Our residents all have unique interests and priorities, but what seems to be consistent in every conversation I have is the common element of concern. Everyone wants to make things better. Everyone wants a safe, welcome place to call home. Everyone cares about the people living next door, and everyone has something they can offer. I like to say that residents are all experts. They are experts on what it means to live here, and that is such valuable insight. When we bring together all of these different perspectives and collaborate, we can build a future we're all proud of. Engagement can take many forms, including both direct input on specific projects and longer-term relationship building. When residents share their feedback on a project, our staff incorporate that into plans and actions. Seeing that follow through builds community trust and encourages more participation. This leads to lasting relationships and collaborations, which of course means more proactive, creative solutions. A great example of this is the recent community discussions we had about the Electric Integrated Resource Plan. This plan is going to help ensure we have the energy we need to sustain our continued growth. Our community weighed in on this topic, giving our staff the input they need to plan for the future. Our experts and our residents discussing these things and truly listening to each other allowed everyone to better understand the energy system and its impacts on every person in our community. Every person I spoke to afterwards said they came away with a greater appreciation of the complexity of this system and a renewed commitment to helping us move forward. This, to me, is what it's all about, working together to reach shared solutions. This is really important in today's world, where many things are outside of our control. Our local government is where residents can actively participate in the decision-making process, directly impacting their quality of life. I am excited about all the creative, compassionate ideas that are being brought forward in our engagement process, and I can't wait to see what we build together.
Thank you. As Columbia continues to grow and change, engagement becomes even more important and helps shape, challenge, and ultimately strengthen the work we do. As a community, housing remains one of the most significant challenges. We are growing as a city, and with growth comes increased demand for housing at all income levels. At the same time, affordability remains the concern of many residents, particularly those on fixed or moderate incomes. We continue to see pressure on both rental and ownership markets. That pressure is not unique to Columbia, but its effect is very real. It affects families trying to remain in their neighborhoods, young professionals entering the workforce, and individuals who are working to regain stability. Through housing and neighborhood services, we're working to expand housing supply and support affordable housing development across multiple partnerships. These efforts are focused on long-term stability and ensuring that Columbia remains accessible to a wide range of residents. But we recognize that we cannot solve this challenge alone. We continue to work closely with partners across the community to identify solutions and move projects forward. That includes ongoing collaboration with Boone County as we review and implement recommendations from the 2024 housing study. That work has helped guide how we think about housing supply, affordability, and the types of investments needed to meet current and future demands. We're also working alongside community partners such as the Columbia Housing Authority and local non-for-profit organizations who are on the front lines of housing development and supportive services. Early this year, Columbia Housing Authority celebrated the completion of Kenny Point, a development that expands access to stable quality housing in our community. In April, Love Columbia opened Gigi's Place, a transitional housing facility designed to support individuals as they move toward long-term stability. Both of these projects were made possible in part through city investment, but more importantly, they reflect what can be accomplished when multiple partners come together with a shared purpose. These are the types of projects that move us forward. They do not solve the challenge overnight, but they represent meaningful progress. At the same time, we continue to work closely with public health and human services to address housing instability and homelessness more effectively. Programs like Divert connect individuals in crisis with support and services, recognizing that housing challenges are often tied to broader health and economic factors. We also recognize that addressing homelessness requires a more structured long-term approach. The city has begun working on with community partners to develop a strategic plan focused on homelessness. This effort is informed by recent data, community input, and evaluation of how other cities are addressing similar challenges. It reflects a shift from a primary reactive approach to a more proactive one, focused on connecting individuals to stable housing and reducing repeat interactions with public safety and emergency services. This plan is still in development, but the direction is clear. It will require coordination across city departments, continued partnership with Boone County and service providers, and a sustained commitment to aligning resources to produce long-term outcomes. Because like housing, more broadly, homelessness is not a single issue challenge. It intersects with mental health, substance use, employment, and access to service. Addressing it effectively requires a system-wide response. This work is complex and it requires a sustained effort. There's no single solution. There's no quick fix, but it does reflect a commitment of this community. Because building a stronger Columbia means ensuring that people have access to safe, stable, and affordable housing. And it means continuing to work together across organizations and systems to make that a reality. Public safety remains one of the most important responsibilities we have as a city. As we continue to evaluate long-term funding options for public safety, we remain focused on making strategic investments that support our police, fire, and supporting services. These investments are critical as we respond to increasing service demands and a growing community and work to ensure that we are positioned for the future. We continue to support the Office of Violence Prevention, working alongside the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform and local partners. The focus of this work is prevention, intervention, and data-informed strategy. With the Columbia Police Department, we continue to integrate technology such as Axon and Flock systems. These tools support investigative work, improve efficiency, and enhances accountability. And we're already starting to see value from that investment. The most immediate impacts you see from Flock are the ability to generate actionable leads more quickly by identifying vehicles connected to a criminal activity and placing them in proximity to an incident. That allows us investigators to move faster, make informed decisions early in a case. Flock also supports real-time response. When a vehicle associated with a crime, a missing person, or an active investigation is detected, officers can receive immediate alerts. That allows for quicker coordination, more targeted enforcement, in some cases, faster resolution of an incident that directly impacts public safety. One example of that impact came late last year when a vehicle was stolen from a Columbia Motel parking lot with two young children, ages 1 and 3, still inside. As officers worked to locate that vehicle, an Amber Alert was issued across the state. Flock technology helped identify that vehicle traveling westbound on Interstate 70 within minutes. That real-time information allowed investigators to coordinate directly with Missouri Statewide Highway Patrol and ultimately leading to safe recovery of both children and the arrest of that suspect. In situations where every second matters, that kind of technology can make a critical difference. At the same time, our investment in Axon technology is helping strengthen transparency, accountability, and operational awareness. From body-worn cameras to real-time situational awareness tools, the system helps ensure that incidents are captured accurately, that supervisors have better visibility into an evolving situation, and that officers have the tools they need to do their jobs effectively. This year marks 200 years of service of the Columbia Police Department. For 2 centuries, this department has served our community, and that commitment remains strong today. While policing continues to evolve and to meet new challenges and expectations, including the integration of new technology and modern tools, the core mission remains the same: This year also marks 125 years of Columbia Fire Department as a public safety agency. For more than a century, firefighters, paramedics, and emergency personnel have served this community with professionalism, courage, and commitment. And that legacy continues today across every station and every call. In 2025, the department responded to more than 16,800 calls for service, its busiest year of record, while staffing 10 stations and 13 companies across the city. At the same time, it continued to modernize operations by improving command operations, expanding rescue and ladder coverage, and strengthening communication systems and enhancing regional coordination through mutual aid partnerships. Columbia's Fire Department also continues to hold international accreditation through the Commission of Fire Accreditation International, part of the Center for Public Safety Excellence. It is one of only 322 fire departments worldwide with this distinction. This accreditation reflects a rigorous, ongoing process that evaluates all aspects of operation and ensures that service meets national standards while remaining aligned with local community needs. For the first time, the Columbia Fire Department also completed 2 Officers Development Academies, strengthening consistency across all levels of the department. Emergency medical capabilities also have expanded, including the establishment of an EMS battalion. Facility investments include the completion of Fire Station 10 and the upcoming replacement of Fire Station 5 further strengthens response coverage and long-term readiness. Taken together, these efforts reflect a department that is meeting today's demands while preparing for the future. The Columbia Fire Department remains focused on reliable response, professional excellence, and continuous improvements as Columbia continues to grow. At this time, I'd like to share a video highlighting the work and commitment of our firefighters and our police officers.
Hi, I'm Brian Schaefer. I'm the fire chief for the City of Columbia.
Hello, I'm Columbia Police Chief Jill Schluty.
So the fire department, as we know it today, was established in 1901. So we've been able to do a lot of incredible work both inside the organization of the Columbia Fire Department, but more importantly, outside of the fire department with the services that we offer. We've enhanced them through a number of improvements, specifically in special operations and deployment of our personnel and our apparatus. And we've invested heavily on creating a learning culture inside the organization so that we develop leaders from the inside, and those leaders are able to make those critical, very key decisions out in the field when people's lives are at risk.
One of the things we're really excited about in 2026 is the bicentennial anniversary of the Columbia Police Department. Over the past year, we've continued to see increases in our staffing, including our 4th Academy class and our Columbia Police Academy in cooperation with Lincoln University. The North Star concept that we teach at the Columbia Police Academy is the idea that the purpose of the police is to protect the vulnerable from harm. And then the mission of the police is to preserve life, preserve peace, and protect property in that order. So we're very proud to say those are the values that we're instilling in the recruits that we teach at the Columbia Police Academy. Even as the city continues to grow and face new challenges, I'm so proud of our CPD staff, including sworn and professional staff, who work every day to keep citizens safe.
Thank you for your attention and a sincere thanks to our police officers and firefighters for all they do. Let's give them a round of applause. That long-term approach extends beyond public safety and into the foundation of systems that supports everyday life across Columbia. Infrastructure is one of the most noticeable ways that residents experience the city government, and it's one of the most important ways that we build a stronger Columbia together. It is the systems that people rely on every day, often while thinking about it. It is the water that comes out of our faucet, the roads that we drive on, the sidewalks that connect our neighborhoods, and the physical framework that supports continued growth across the city. As Columbia continues to grow, the demands on our utility and transit networks continue to increase. That means we have to be intentional not only about maintaining what we have, but also about investing in the capacity needed for the future. These are long-term decisions that require planning, coordination, and a clear understanding of where our community is headed. Across the city, we're advancing a wide range of public works projects. While many are underway, 2 current sidewalk projects are strong examples of how this investment directly impacts our residents. Along Oakland Gravel Road from Blue Ridge to Smiley Lane, a new sidewalk is being constructed to complete the final missing segments along this corridor. This project will provide continuous pedestrian access to a park, a healthcare facility, and nearby schools. On Vanderbilt Drive, from Oakland Gravel Road to Parker Street roundabout, we're building a new sidewalk that will include a pedestrian crossing signal and an improved crosswalk at a key intersection. This project also positions us for future connectivity by including the planning for a trail along the Coat Railroad. These projects are just 2 examples, but they represent the type of work happening across Columbia. They're shaped by community needs, informed by growth, and focused on improving how people move through and experience the city. At the same time, we're continuing to balance new construction with the ongoing responsibility of maintaining the infrastructure we already have. That work is just as important, and it requires discipline and how we prioritize resources across the system. At Columbia Regional Airport, we're seeing tremendous growth and momentum. CLU has recently been named the fastest growing airport in the United States, reflecting both increased demand and continued investment. We've also seen significant expansion in airline service, including the return of United Airlines, expanded service from American Airlines, and Allegiant flights to destinations such as Orlando and Destin. These additions are not just about travel convenience. They strengthen Columbia's connectivity to national markets, support local employers, and expand opportunities for business, education, and tourism across the region. But this growth is not happening by chance. It's being supported by a series of major capital projects that are designed to ensure that we can meet future demands. These projects are part of a broader effort to ensure that the airport can continue to operate efficiently as it grows, while also improving the experience for every traveler who comes through Columbia. These investments reflect a clear strategy to position Columbia Regional Airport as a regional asset that supports economic development, strengthens connectivity, and enhances the quality of life for the entire community. As we continue to grow, these investments will ensure that Columbia remains connected, accessible, and prepared for the future we are building together. Through our utilities department, we are nearing the completion of a major improvement at the McBain water treatment plant. This project has been years in the making and represents one of the most significant capital investments the city has undertaken. When complete, it will restore the plant's capacity to treat up to 32 million gallons of water daily, with improved performance and extending the life of this critical facility. The impact of this work is significant. It strengthens the reliability of our water system, supports continued residential and economic growth, and ensures that the needs of our community is met now and into the future. It is not a project most residents will see, but it's one that every resident depends on. Please join me in watching a video that highlights the amazing progress that's being made.
The McBain water treatment plant started construction in August 2024. We anticipate completion of that construction project this fall, August 2026. So the purpose of the upgrade is to restore capacity to the 32 million gallons a day that the facility was originally designed for, but also to improve the treatment of the water that goes to our citizens and improve the performance of the facility itself. The original facility was built in the 1970s, and there were a couple of upgrades in the 80s and 90s. And the upgrades include updating both the clarifier primary and secondary basins, the lime feed system, which is part of the softening system to soften our water, the aerators, and the filtration system, along with adding a new chemical building to house chlorine and ammonia and different chemicals that are used to treat the water. water, and some HVAC and minor upgrades to the administration building. So staff's been working hard the last 2 years working with the contractor to ensure that all of our customers continue to have safe drinking water through that entire period, while also upgrading to a more efficient, state-of-the-art facility that provides the best drinking water possible to our community. So it's an exciting time for our water production group.
I promise that's the last video. Infrastructure work is often not visible day to day, but is the foundation of how a city functions. That same can be said about economic development. Over the last years, Columbia's economy has continued to show strength, resilience, and diversification. Through Regional Economic Development, Inc., or REDI, we continue to support small business growth and entrepreneurship, which remains a critical part of Columbia's economic foundation. Small businesses are often where innovation begins, where local jobs are created, and where much of the community's identity is built. Supporting that ecosystem is essential to maintain a resilient and diversified economy. Over the past year, REDI served more than 300 entrepreneurs through coaching, workshops, and business supportive services. REDI also continues to administer the city's funded Small Business Grant Program, which helps provide needed capital to local entrepreneurs, with a priority given to businesses in economically disadvantaged areas. Now in its 5th year, demand for this program remains strong. This year, 63 entrepreneurs applied for 8 grants totaling $50,000. Together, these efforts reflect a broader strategy focused not only on attracting growth, but on supporting the business and entrepreneurs that help drive Columbia's economy every day. With the Conventions and Visitors Bureau, we continue to support Columbia's broader economic development by strengthening tourism, supporting major events, and positioning our community for long-term growth. In fiscal year 2025, tourism generated more than $577 million in spending in Boone County and supported over 11,500 local jobs tied directly to visitor activity. That impact reaches well beyond the business itself. It also supports the quality of life we're experiencing every day through tax revenue that helps fund parks, infrastructure, arts, and culture. This work reflects a single idea. Building a stronger Columbia together means strengthening every part of our economy. A strong economy supports local jobs, sustains small businesses, enhances the quality of life for residents, and helps ensure Columbia remains a place where people want to take root and invest in the future. Our Parks and Recreation system continues to play an important role in the quality of life across Columbia, and it remains one of the most visible ways residents experience our community. As Columbia grows, demand for access for parks, recreation, and community space continue to grow with it. These are the places where family gathers, where children play, where neighbors connect, and where community life happens every day outside of the formal governmental setting. We're proud to have completed Phase 2 of the Columbia Sports Fieldhouse. This project represents a significant expansion of our indoor recreation capacity and strengthens Columbia's ability to support youth sports, community program, and regional events year-round. It is an investment not only in facilities, but in the health, activity, and the connection of our community. Expected to open later this year is Whitegate Park, which transforms a previously underutilized space into a neighborhood park designed to serve long-identified need in an area in our community. With new amenities, gathering space, and recreational features, Whitegate Park will provide residents with a safe, accessible, and welcoming public space and a part of the city that has long needed it. It is a direct example of reinvestment in neighborhoods and expanding access to quality parks across Columbia. These projects are part of a broader system of parks and recreational investment across the city. From neighborhood parks to athletic fields to trails and green space, we continue to make intentional decisions about where and how we invest so recreational opportunities keep pace with the growth and remains accessible to residents across all parts of Columbia. These investments reflect what it means to build a stronger Columbia together. They're shaped by community needs, supported through long-term planning and focus on ensuring that every resident has access to spaces that support recreation, wellness, and connection. Because parks are not just an amenity, they are part of the foundation of community life. One of the greatest strengths that we have in Columbia is not just what we do as a city, but how our community shows up alongside us to do the work. We're fortunate to have residents who do more than just engage in conversation, they take action. They invest their time, their energy, and their care in making this community a better place. That spirit is reflected in programs like Love Your Block. Through this initiative, residents across Columbia are stepping up with ideas and projects that directly improve their neighborhoods. From beautification efforts to small-scale community improvements, Love Your Block empowers residents to take ownership in shaping the place where they live. It is a clear example of what happens when the city provides support and the community brings forward leadership and commitment. These efforts strengthen neighborhoods from the inside out. That same spirit is reflected in our volunteer programs across the city. During the city's 2025 fiscal year, volunteers contributed more than 32,000 hours of service, valued at over $1 million. Approximately 7,000 residents gave up their time to support city programs and services. This is not a small contribution. This is a reflection of a deeply engaged community. Those volunteers serve across nearly every city department, with the greatest emphasis in parks and recreation, housing and neighborhood services, and utilities. Their work is often behind the scenes, but the impact is visible across the city. Volunteers help keep our city clean. In last year alone, more than 7,800 bags of litter was collected from streets, parks, and streams. Volunteers support recycling and composting efforts, maintain adopt-a-spot locations throughout medians and intersections, and help care for parks and public spaces. They assist with the city's sponsored events that bring people together. We also are continuing to invest in building a culture of service for our future generations. Programs like Youth in Action, now celebrating 25 years, provides young people their first opportunity to serve the community and understand the value of civic engagement. As we look ahead, the theme for our volunteer program this year says it well. Join our volunteer family, because that's exactly what it is. It is a family of residents, staff, and partners who choose to invest in Columbia, not just through words, but through action. We're grateful for that partnership, because while the city provides the service, it is the community that helps extend that reach, deepen that impact, and strengthen those results. Everything we've discussed today reflects a larger truth about Columbia. Progress happens when we all work together. The investments we make today in infrastructure, housing, public safety, community development, parks, and neighborhoods are all part of building a community that remains strong, connected, and prepared for the future. But none of that work succeeds without continued community involvement. So I encourage each of you to stay engaged. Continue to participate in public meetings and community conversation and neighborhood discussions. Continue to share your ideas, your concerns, and your vision for where Columbia should go next. Because when a community stays engaged, connected, and focused on shared goals, there's very little that we cannot accomplish. That is how we continue to build a stronger Columbia together and ensure that this remains the best place to live, work, learn, and play. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone who came